Remember how I said an effective dominant is an adaptable planner? Moon pie, for you, a responsible submissive is mindful enough to balance communication with temperance. Okay? Read it again. A responsible submissive is mindful enough to balance communication with temperance. So, moon pie, you're asking, how do I stay in one role? How do I predict what role I'm going to be in? It's not about predicting, okay? It's about being mindful enough to read the room and knowing when to communicate and when to wait. And this is a skill. This mindfulness, this patience, this is a submissive skill that needs to be developed a lot of times. And I'm going to take you through the 3 examples you gave me to kind of illuminate this principle for you. So, the first example that you gave me, my dear, was I might be halfway through a punishment and my brain says, this is great, but what you really need is cuddles right now. So, at that moment, there's a punishment happening. Do you have the patience and the mindfulness to submit to the punishment that's happening in a respectful way? Hold on to that thought. And then at the end of the punishment, communicate that thought. Could I have a snuggle now? Because what that tells me is when you are being punished, halfway through a punishment, your brain says, this is great, but what you really need now is cuddles. So part of you is going, this is great. Okay, I'm getting what I need. I'm getting that play, that masochism, that impact play, that connection. But then what I really need is cuddles. So it also tells me that this punishment is making you go, I need to make sure that we're still good. I need to make sure that we're still good and that you still love me, that I'm still a good girl. And so that indicates to me that that's a matter of temperance. You just need to sit with that, take the punishment, and then when the punishment's over, I really just need to make sure we're okay. Can you cuddle me? Does that make sense? That's scenario number 1, moon pie. And do you see how it's not really I'm shifting out of one and shifting into another? It's just I'm waiting for the right time to communicate. So does that make sense? To moon pie, anyone else? Picking up what I'm throwing down. The second scenario that you laid out for me, moon pie, is coloring a picture and suddenly have this desire to run over and kneel at his feet and tell him how wonderful he is. Why not? Why not? Why does that need to be segregated? Why do you need to compartmentalize that? That's a happy feeling. Why are you stopping a happy feeling? That's all it is. Let's not overcomplicate it. You're coloring, and suddenly you have this urge to be really soft and sweet and submissive. Well, logically, you're coloring. You're likely in a softer, littler leaning space. You're present, doing something tactile, but it's giving your mind the ability to just go and think, and it's going in a pleasant direction, probably because you're feeling soft and safe and vulnerable, leaning toward the little space, right? So then when you're having all these thoughts, that gratitude is going to come up. And that gratitude's going to, I want to go over and cuddle by his feet and tell him how wonderful he is. Why are you shutting down gratitude? You're trying to label these instead of just letting them flow. And the third example, about shaking the beer, that tells me you're feeling really safe. You're feeling safe, you're feeling playful. And in that instance, I would just say calibrate. You know you're dominant way better than I do. Is that something that would cause something fun to happen? Plus, you do give us really great stories when you brat. So I'm pro bratting, pro moon pie bratting across the board. But I would just say calibrate. You know your dominant better than I do. But if he wouldn't view that as disrespectful and he would view that as playful fodder that would get his fire going a little bit, then go for it.